Next up on the lists of lists, we're going to talk about my top tweets for 2017, most of which were actually stolen from other people. So let's get to that. I mean, this is just my analytics if you ever wondered what that looks like for somebody like me who's way too active on Twitter and just sort of exploded recently, the past few months, specifically 2016. You know, I don't really know what these numbers mean in the grand scheme of things, but it's great that they're all green and going up, I guess. So let's go to January. January was interesting because Bitcoin popped really hard right before PBOC knocked it down. Twitter itself is interesting because, again, it's one of those resources you can look back at your stuff and say, this was right, this was wrong, you know, this is what worked, this is what didn't. But for the most part, a lot of these top tweets are just funny stuff or random crap that I had no idea would be super popular. Like this, for instance. I stole the meme from Rick and Morty subreddit, okay, and it just like kind of exploded. For February, again, another meme I stole from somewhere else. This was about SegWit. At the time, we still hadn't had it, or it was even close to being a thing. That was in February. For March, again, BU. What the hell's BU? Bitcoin Unlimited, which has turned into Bitcoin Cash, essentially. It's crazy how that evolved from Bitcoin Limited in March to Bitcoin Unlimited to what we know of now as Bitcoin Cash. These were all the problems. Again, I stole this from Reddit, so never be afraid to repost stuff if you're trying to get popular. This was XRP. I don't think this planned out. Or no, maybe it did. For some reason, even the articles I write about XRP are just explode. Like, people love reading about XRP. I don't know why. This wasn't even huge as far as analytics are concerned, but it got a lot of impressions that month. Again, this is May from XRP. This was when XRP exploded, so this must have worked out. I should know better. But this was when XRP exploded, and I don't think anybody really knows or knew what XRP does or did. They were just sort of buying it, so greed and speculation. And I think this illustrated that perfectly at the time. June, again, ETC. It's like XRP. Anything I post about ETC just gets a huge amount of views. I don't know if it's like the Asia connection or what. ETC and XRP, really popular in Asia. So it's July. Again, people don't use exchanges as wallets. You know, I was thinking about this morning, that as the network's getting clogged based on usage, more and more people are going to have more on exchanges. So stuff's ready to be sold at the right time, which inevitably is going to create bigger custodial risk because custodians will be holding more coins, places like Polo and Bittrex, Coinbase, Bitfinex, Kraken. So these hacks are probably going to get bigger, and on top of that, prices are what they are now. So a $4 million hack in 2013 is going to be a $400 million hack now. Don't use exchanges as wallets. Use a hardware wallet, or a software wallet. I recommend Ledger, Trezor, Samurai, Mycelium, Bread Wallet if you're on iOS. Use something with SegWit addresses. I know Samurai and Trezor has that. So for August, this chart, I just think a lot of people identified with this because if you're uninitiated, Bitcoin is seen as a honey badger. I forget where that it first got labeled or whatever. Honey badgers kind of do whatever they want, don't care about things, and keep on trucking. And this chart kind of illustrated that. We've had various FUD events throughout the year, 2 years now, looking back on it. Hearn was a developer in Core, famously and very publicly announced he was leaving, dumping all his coins. Bitfinex hack, which was huge then, even to think about it now, we still don't know why that happened. PBOC was the beginning of this year, and they basically cut off China from trading. Past that was basically ETF and or protocol drama that caused various dips, ETF denial specifically, but Bitcoin Cash and SegWit 2x, things like that. But that was at 3,000. Kind of crazy. All that happened in a year. A lot of big public things that happened this year that really, I think, helped catapult us higher. Because you can't just go straight up without some retraces, and the deeper the retraces you get, the higher the likelihood that we'll just keep going when the momentum is there. This one I stole from Reddit, I think, and it exploded. Pretty much true. Diamond kind of is a joke anyway. But it was funny that he called Bitcoin a fraud, and then there was another FUD event that Bitcoin just catapulted from. This one I stole from Instagram. I don't really know why it exploded, other than it talked about Ron Paul. I saw another version of this that had Andreas's audio talking for 14 hours or something, which would have been a better tweet than this. I don't even know how the bots picked this up, because there's no text in this tweet, so it must have been flagged by some bot network and it just exploded. Or people just really love Ron Paul, I don't know. This tweet I stole from Gallippi while I was in a taxi in New York City. And Gallippi stole this from, I think Captain Sparrow's his name on Twitter, who's been doing these for a long time. I've seen Colin do these as well. This just illustrated how the craziness that this year has been, how quickly prices just exploded. Absolutely exploded. And lastly, for December so far, pretty interesting chart. Thanks to Parabolic Trav, who just appeared out of nowhere, who I think is either CIA or KGB. These parabolic charts are becoming more and more popular, and I think this is a great target. 30K, not impossible. The pullback's a little harsh, but based on the previous logic, it makes sense. We sort of pull back to previous all-time highs. So those are my top tweets for this year. It's kind of a joke list, but never be afraid to use Twitter. Post whatever you want. Don't try to force people to follow you on social media or YouTube. If you provide value in some way, the people will come. So don't hesitate to provide that value.